So in this image you can see that we've used profiles, and these help you to set out the garden. You can put string lines between them. Obviously you use a builder square to mark out your right angles, and use the building itself where possible to extend the line of the house. So we're putting in the marking out here for all the foundations, and then we'll fill the foundations in with a 6:1 concrete mix. That's 6 parts ballast to 1 of cement. Reinforced concrete block wall. The reason being it's so high, we can't rely on blocks and bricks. It's not strong enough. So what we've done, we've put reinforcing rods in the center of these. That'll get filled in with a slurry concrete, which will go really rock hard. And then we'll build bricks around the front to face it. Whereas when you're laying blocks, what you can do, just get a little bit of mortar like that and flick it, sort of underneath, come underneath, pick it up, drop it down, tap, pick up a bit and just drop it in like that. A little bit more, just drop it in, okay? And you just work that around nice and easy, so you get a nice tube, and that's kind of then, you know, work your way all the way around. You can run the trowel down the outside, keep working it, a little bit in there, okay, and you just work that all the way around, and then your block is ready to lay the next one on. Okay, so it's just a little bit like that, a little tad more in there, then run the trowel around the outside. Just use the back of the trowel like that. If you want to do it on the inside you can, and then that's it, and then that's all nice and ready. Just lay your block on. So that's quite quick. You can build quite quickly. These are quite heavy, you have to lift them up and over when you're laying them, but that's with the concrete blocks. In the back here we've also made provision for a drain, so there'll be a drain to drain the waterway. Just before I finish that, I'll knock out some joints as well, just so that water can drain out the wall, which is really important to stop that hydraulic water coming out the wall. The back here we'll have to build it up in stages, of course, because obviously you get settlement over time. I'll be like, when this has all been concreted and gone off a couple of days, that could be whackered in layers, and we'll build that up. We've also got an air brick to deal with, so we're going to have to put like we're going to have a little ACO drain to drain the water, but the ACO will have a little cutout slot, so that not right to the bottom, but just so that air can get through as well. Yeah, so we can use up all the old bricks as well that are over there. They can all come back into here, good hardcore. We're tying the blocks to the wall, the existing wall of the house. So I've drilled a hole, put a fixing in there, just one of these sort of question mark shaped, and we'll just bend that in a bit, and that will sit in the mortar, and that will just bond the wall nicely to the existing. And we'll do the same way we do the bricks. So we're going to be running bricks on the front, which will be the decorative part, and then that will just go in there, and then that just sits there, and that just reinforces that, gives that a bit of strength. Slurry. So we've made this slurry of concrete, and we pour that in. Next, so I give you the one with the bad handle. So you can see how wet it is. That's just a 6:1 with a very quite a lot of water to make it slump and wrap around and pour down those holes. So that's the other side of it. Okay. Bye. In front of the block work, we're just going to clad it now. So just building up with brickwork, building up the sides. So what we're going to do is just, we've done the hard work, if you like, in terms of reinforcement and making sure that that is really strong enough. And now this is just going to clad it. I've put some ties in from time to time just to make sure that it's nice and strong. And so we're just literally just a little bit of mortar on there, and then we'll just push that in. Make sure, try and get it sort of vertical, your perp ends, so you have to look at the course 2 below to check that you're in line, to make sure it's all going to work out. Otherwise you can run out pretty quickly if you're not careful. So all I'm going to do is just carry on running this through, so I can run into a line, which is always better wherever you can in landscaping. Always work to a line. So what we're doing now, built up the corner. I'm going to build up the corner of the steps, and then we're just going to clad it, just like I've done round here. And we'll have a brick cladding, and then we're going to fill that in with limestone, and then we're going to put a glass. So I'm going to pave it, glass windbreak around, glass balustrade windbreak, and hopefully should start to be looking quite nice. Well, good afternoon. We've been pressing on today, just building up the raised bed, putting the front sort of brickwork in, put some blocks at the back, and then I've just topped it with some bricks at the back. And now we're going to have a look at some steps. So just been building up the sides of the steps, and what we're going to do here is sort of do it. We're going to do 3 steps. So obviously when you do a step, you've got the, obviously we've got to consider when we do a step what the ultimate height's going to be. And in this case we're going to be up to, by the time we've got the extra brick on, and we've got a slab on, so we're probably looking at about, if we're with about a 25mm slab, 22 or 35mm slab, we're going to have up to about 600 we've got to get to. So we've got step 1, step 2, step 3 is going to have to be up to about 600. So you're obviously going to divide, if you've got 3 steps, you're going to divide that by 3, so you want to be aiming at 20 centimetres at least for each step. Obviously 2 bricks is 150, 6 inches, but there will be the thickness of the slab and a bit of mortar as well, and the slab will slope slightly. So by the time, we just got to get, we haven't chosen the slab yet, so I can't tell you what that's going to be, is to put some concrete in and use some blocks to build like a platform here, and that's what we're going to have a look at. So I'm just going to get the trowel, I'm going to level this off. Now I know a block is about 4 inches wide, so I can level up the, just made up some 6:1 concrete, marking this up, and we'll pop that in there like that, pull it in a bit. What we're going to do, we're just going to pop a block in place and tap it down, and then when that's gone off, we can you know, we can use that to build off. So what I've got here, I've got a block, and to use these blocks up in the build, we can actually drop one of them in. I can come back a little bit away, it's a little bit high. See, I've gone a little bit high there, but I've also got to think about the slab, the thickness of the slab and things like that. So actually, by the time you've got your slab, obviously we don't want to see the top of that. So, and looking at the distance here of the tread, we're going to be about 90 centimetres to there. There'll be a little bit of overhang. So it's going to be at least 30 where the front of the wall will go. So essentially what will happen is this will get knocked down to a suitable level. So I'll get that down, we'll get a spirit level, and we'll just check that. So here we go, so that's pretty level. Pretty level that way as well, just double check. Just gone out of level a bit that way. So pretty level there, pretty level there. We'll do the same one here, but of course, so by the time we get our slab and mortar, that's going to be well hidden. So you're not going to see this block, you definitely don't want to see that. So I'll put another one in there, and then what we'll be able to do, we'll be able to build off that. So we could come in roughly, when we come to do it, come in about 30 centimetres, and we'll be able to build off that. And that will form the face, or we could use an engineering brick actually to make it the same. So we can put a layer of bricks across there, and then that will run through. I mean, you could bond it into the wall as well if you wanted for extra strength, but that'll be okay. That'll be there, and we'll get 2 courses, and then that'll be ready for the next one, and then the third one will go up onto here. So what we've got to do here is a series of cuts. So across here, what I've done is this will just sit at the top, and I'm going to do like a slab on top of the wall. So what I've been doing is cutting. So essentially I'll put a little bit of bed and mortar. You can use, if you don't want to use mortar, you can just use sand and water just to bed them temporarily. Leave a 10mm gap, that's your index finger, and then you can pop that into position. I'll just hold this one up here a second. So that's there, and then all you've got to do really is where you're going to mark it out with, scribe that out. So I've just got my, just using a little Sharpie pen actually, and just put a couple of marks on there just so you can join up the dots, and you can cut that down all the way around. And once you've cut it, what I've done one earlier just to show you, that will sort of go in there like that, and then you've kind of got your cuts there, and now that's just about ready to put the slab on top to finish that. And then that will give us an angle for when we put the glass, give us basically a parallelogram, and then there'll be a top rail, safety rail to come down the steps. So I'm just going to rejig that mortar just to line it up a bit. So that's what's happening on this side. Got to do the same, something similar on the other side as well. And then over here, what's happening is copings are going on, and so what's happened, Mark's laid the one at the end here, so we lay the one at the end, lay the one at the other end. Okay, so he's laid the two at the end, string a line through, and then they're dobbed on. Okay, you can, if you want to, put a little tingle plate in the middle if it's sagging a little bit. So they're all looking nice now, and they're ready to be pointed up. So good sunny day today, but the forecast is quite wet for tomorrow, so we'll see how we go. But I'll get these on and we'll have a look at that in a minute. Okay, so what we're doing today is getting the Flowpoint on. We've mixed it up. You can use 4.2 litres to a bag. We found just a little bit more water really is important, because it's just a little bit dry, and you get a dry day, it'll set like anything. So the cooler the day, the better. So what you got to do is wet everything down first, and then once you've wetted your paving, make sure it's not flooded. You don't want it flooded. You can actually go over it with a sponge, or you can just wet it with just a rose. And then with the joints, we just work it two ways, back and forth, just like you would if you were tiling. Just keep working it back and forth, working it into the joints, and then once you've got your joints all nice and full, we'll start to drag off the material. So obviously you want to drag off all the excess with your squidgy. So these squidgies are about £12. You can get them on Amazon, 12, 13 pounds, and you can really drag off the bulk of the material, just because obviously you've got to clean up, which is going to take quite a lot of time. And use your squidgy diagonally across the joints so you don't pull out the flow point. So you see there, I'm just going to work that in, just keep working it in. Don't worry about as long as you've wetted the surfaces and keep them moist, then you don't need to worry. We're going to power wash off, or you can hose off the excess material later. I've got a bit here, I've got to work it in, and then I've got a little bit up to the wall to work in. The other thing here is we've taped up the joints with gaffer tape, so where you've got overhangs, we've taped them up. You can see there how clean it is when you use it. So what we're doing now is just sort of cleaning up a little bit. So when the flow point goes hard, you can actually feel it with your finger. That one's actually just about going now. Just take it diagonally, okay, and you can clean it off with a sponge. Obviously a little bit later we will nip around with the power washer, but you can just clean off a surplus like that, just like you would if you were tiling. And then another little trick with Flowpoint, you can use gaffer tape, but sometimes when it's a little bit damp like today, the gaffer tape won't stick that well. So I'm going to clean that off a little bit. So just what we've done is just put a little bit of slightly thicker material and then we can work it in. Okay, and the beauty of that is, if it's not too wet, it'll hold on the sides. Okay, it just needs to go off a little bit more, actually. This does, it's just a little bit too much moisture around, but that will fill those voids up. So especially as it thickens up, we'll be able to just put a little bit in there and it'll stick. Okay, so I'm just going to move that to one side. This is thickening up a bit. I'll just do the little piece down here, and then what we'll do, just drop that in there. So just getting thicker all the time. And then we'll come back to that, then we'll clean up. So I'm just going to push that in there. You can see here where it's a little bit drier, that that will actually stay in the joint. Ooh. No, it won't. Oh, so I'm going to just put that in there, and then I'm going to use some slightly thicker stuff just to hold that there in that joint. So here we are doing a balustrade and windbreak, glass windbreak. Now there's some issues, but I just want to talk you through it a little bit. So you can see here we've got the sort of main post in at the bottom. We have a parallelogram piece of glass to go in there, but the problem was that even though we used a diamond drill bit, that the ends were breaking off. So effectively what's happened here, if we go in and do a close-up, you can see there's a crack in there, and it's because when you drill out with a diamond and then you go to finish it off with a normal drill, if it catches these porcelain slabs, it can crack them ever so. They're really strong, very difficult to drill through. You have to use diamond drill bits, but they're incredibly brittle, and that's the problem. So these are the diamond drill bits. You need something like that. Ideally, if you've got an extension on that it can go right through, even better, then you won't have any problem at all. What I'm doing now is just putting a bit of Loctite glue. That's what you use to hold these in place. We've checked that everything is all vertical, etc. We've put shims in at the base which will cut off. I just use plastic shims, and now what I'm going to do is put a bit of Loctite glue in there, and then we can drop that in. Okay, any surplus, we'll just wipe that off. So I'll just get my cloth is good, but a glove will be second place in this case, just to wipe the surplus. And then what we'll do is we'll put the rail on. So we've got a handrail here all ready to go, and that's just got to be, you just mark the location. Obviously you put your handrail into place, check it's all right, and offer that up to there. Mark your location with a pen, and then you drill your holes and then put your plugs in and screw it to the wall. Or alternatively, you could have a pedestal if you wanted to. That'd be another way of doing it. Okay, so that's what we'll do now, is just put we'll make sure this is on, and then offer this up. So obviously you lay it on top, make sure it's up tight against the wall, and then just use a long pointed felt is quite good. Okay, and then once you've done that, you can either turn it over and drill them from the top, which is one way of doing it, or you can take it away and drill them. It's up to you. I tend to take them away just in case of putting extra weight on the porcelain, so I'm going to just take that away. I'll get those drilled out and bring them back. Obviously you need to punch them first, a little centre punch, and then just drill them. Okay, so what we're doing is just trying to pop rivet these on, just so they're nice and tight. That's one way of doing it, or you can self-tapping screws is the other one. So we're just putting in the last piece of glass here, and there's a little piece that goes in on the end, so there's a little bit of cleaning up there to do on the end. And what you have is you've got to make sure that you've got a gasket in each one, on that side and this side. You have got a bit of flexibility. There's a screw that goes down the middle of these which you can undo to swivel it slightly, so you've got a little bit of leeway there. So I can just sort of get my two screws. So the gap at the base is about 80mm. That's a good sort of gap. Sometimes these sit good and sometimes they don't, and this one, of course, in good fashion, is not seating good. So I've got to try and get that in to get it started into its sort of seating, if you like. And once we've got it in that seating, it'll go in. But just getting it started is quite tricky sometimes. Sometimes I just don't want to get going and started now. So we're just finishing off the glass windbreak. In fact, I have got to drop the handle there on the top. You can see just one's coming down a bit, and I did the bottom, but I just got to do the top. But it's all cleaned up. There's a few plants put ready there. There's a phormium, euchera, tetrapanax, cistus and teucrium, and a bit of rosemary ready to go, and we're just about done. Just got a couple of holes to drill in the bottom of that wall just for weep holes, and I think we're about done. Up this glass windbreak and split terrace. It's been quite an interesting job, quite a challenging job really, especially drilling porcelain with diamond drill bits and one or two bits breaking off, and we had to find ways of overcoming that. But the end result looks pretty good and the customer's happy, so that's good. So ambitious project, not for the faint-hearted, but hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.